Attorney General William Barr has sharpened his attacks on the FBI, claiming he is still not convinced the agency acted without bias in the 2016 Russia probe. His criticism contradicts key findings of his own Inspector General's report. Ben Tracy has the details.
Attorney General William Barr is once again siding with President Trump, offering a scathing critique today of the FBI's investigation into the 2016 Trump campaign.
I think our nation was turned on its head for 3 years. I think based on a completely bogus narrative. I think that leaves open the possibility to infer bad faith.
Barr is contradicting his own Inspector General, who found the FBI acted legitimately and with no political bias in launching the probe into the Trump campaign's potential ties with Russia. The report did, however, find the FBI made significant mistakes in its warrant applications for wiretap surveillance of the campaign.
Well, it's clearly spied upon. I mean, that's what electronic surveillance is.
Barr, who also staunchly defended President Trump after the release of Special Counsel Robert Mueller's report, is now essentially echoing the president's view that it's all been a hoax and a witch hunt.
It should never again happen to another president.
The president and the attorney general are now at odds with FBI Director Christopher Wray, who says the Bureau was right to launch the Russia probe and chafes at President Trump, calling his agents the deep state.
That's not a term I would ever use to describe our workforce, and I think it's an affront to them.
In a tweet today, President Trump ominously called Wray the current director of the FBI, adding that with that kind of attitude, he will never be able to fix the FBI.
And Ben Tracy joins us now from the White House. Hi, Ben. Is there any indication we could see a third FBI director in Trump's administration?
Well, if you count tweets, yes. The tweet that the president sent out is not exactly a vote of confidence in his current FBI director by calling him current FBI director. It kind of leaves open the door that he may be a former FBI director at some point. But the president really went out of his way to criticize Christopher Wray, saying he doesn't know what report he's been reading, but it's not the one that the president read. And there is a track record here. We should keep in mind that Christopher Wray has two predecessors in this administration, Andrew McCabe, who served as the acting FBI director, and then, of course, James Comey, who was summarily dismissed by President Trump, in large part for his role in this Russia investigation.
Now, the Inspector General in his report says he found no political bias in the FBI's investigation into Russian interference in 2016, at least in the inception of the investigation. So how is Barr contradicting this pretty directly?
Very directly. I mean, he contradicts it in almost every way he possibly could. He says that the premise of this investigation was baseless. He used words like a complete sham, that it was based on rubbish. He calls it a bogus narrative. And then he went on to say that that leaves open the possibility that there was bad faith. That is another way of saying that there was political bias, even though his own Inspector General said very categorically that there is no evidence of that from both the documents that have been reviewed and the interviews that have been done.
And so then how significant is William Barr, the Attorney General's criticism of his own IG's findings?
I think it's significant because it's such a contradiction of his own Justice Department's report, but I also would say it's not surprising. These are things that William Barr came into this role believing. He was fairly vocal about his thoughts on the Russia investigation. In part, that's why President Trump chose him to be the Attorney General. So him coming out now and contradicting this, while it may look like bad form in terms of contradicting his own Inspector General, his own Justice Department report, I would not say that it's surprising.
So, Ben, John Durham is a Justice Department prosecutor picked by Barr to lead a separate investigation into FBI misconduct. How can we expect his probe to differ?
I think we should expect the conclusion to be very different, and mainly because yesterday when the Inspector General released this report, in a very unusual move, John Durham issued a statement basically saying, I want to note that we don't agree with the conclusions of this. That's before his own report has been issued. He also makes a point of saying that he has access to more information. That's largely because Durham has traveled around the world and met with foreign intelligence officials of other countries to get information. So I think you can expect that that is going to be a much harsher assessment of the actions that the FBI took, much more in line with what William Barr and President Trump believe.
All right. Well, Ben Tracy at the White House, thank you so much.
Thanks, Tanya.